All right, so this is what we're working on today. This Blogger landing page from Frontend Mentor. I had somebody request I do this, and I haven't done anything but download the files. So I haven't tried to think through it or anything. I figured you can kind of talk through it together with me, and we'll do whatever we can today. And I'm sure we'll need to do another one if we're going to finish it, but we'll at least get started here. Hey, Z-Fake, welcome. Bangladesh, Portugal. Hey, this is great. Lots of people from all over. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. And I've gone ahead and I just dragged stuff into a directory and opened it with live server. That's all I've done so far. So we'll have to adjust this. And then I took the images and just threw them in a Figma file. So that's what we've got so far. And Hungary. All right, nice. Well, welcome everyone. All right, so we've got kind of a bunch of stuff to set up here. And as I go, I'd love to have your input too. If you see something that you're like, hey, let's try this, or maybe you could try this, because there's always things when you're coding live that you just don't see and you have to come back and fix, and that's totally fine. I think what I want to do is start with mobile first. That's how I tend to like to do it. And then for now, maybe let's just ignore this menu. What we're going to have to do, see, we've got drop downs here. So these are drop downs as well. Okay. So what we're going to have to do is I think what I would do is have a UL here, and then each of these would be a UL. They'd be an LI with a UL inside of them. So that's how we're going to structure this. And then this section and this section should be together, and we can justify space between on them or use margin auto, right or left or whatever. Toronto, Canada. Nice. I'm doing well. Good to have you here. All right. And then we've got this button here that's going to be hidden on desktop, and it will show up in mobile. And then I'll probably move all this up. So that could take our entire time today, just because there's a lot of setup, especially if you try to do anything even halfway accessible. So let's go ahead and leave that alone for now. We'll just kind of put placeholders, and let's just work on this mobile design. Now, like I said, North Carolina. Nice, welcome. My parents used to live pretty close to you. Well, I mean, they used to live in North Carolina. I don't know where you live there, but. All right, so that's what this is telling us. Let's go ahead and let's open up this file here. All right, so looks like they've given me a link to no style sheet, so I got to create that. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll say style.css, and I'm just going to use standard CSS and SESS, or rather than SESS or something like that. I find that in these kinds of challenges, it's better just to focus on actually styling stuff out, or you end up never doing anything. So that's what we're going to do. So let's say link CSS like that, and then they just give you all the text here. So let's go ahead and grab all of this. Blogs Career Connect. Let's see, what is this? There's a grab here. Nice. Welcome. All right, so it looks like maybe that's the bottom section. Oh, you know what? These were nested. Okay, so let's ignore all that for now. Let's see, what do I have over here? Style guide. Colors. All right, so we got something showing up. Primary text, very light. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a bunch of these. So I'm going to grab this. This is the clipboard manager I use called Pastebot. It's nice because you can just grab all these in order and then paste them back in order, which is kind of nice. We got a gradient. Oh man, we got all kinds of colors here. I haven't looked at any of this yet, so. All right, and then looks like font size 16. We've got a Google font. Okay, so we've got several things let's get these colors in place first. So let's come over here and let me go ahead and grab the after and the before. And let's set box sizing. This thing needs to get out of my way. Box sizing to border box for now. And then we'll just do margin 0 and padding 0. Padding 9, padding 0. All right, so there we go. We got some basic stuff set up. Let's go ahead and grab the root. And I'm going to close the sidebar, and let's grab some of these colors. So I don't remember what these are called. So let's just copy a bunch of these down, and we'll figure it out as we go. Actually, while I'm here, let's grab all those like that, and then I'll just paste these back in order. So that's our red, light red, whatever these things are. And then one more. Nice. All right, so we've got a ton of colors to worry about here now. Since I don't have access to the actual Figma file, we're going to be doing some guesswork, but that's fine. Let's move this over. Let's just name these. So we've got red. We'll call this light. And then we've got red, and let's call this hover, not right, red. Let's call this hover. Don't we have, yeah, this light red down here. Are those the same? 356, 166. Almost. I mean, that's a little odd that they're so close, but that's all right. So we'll do light 2. How about that? So we'll come back to this one right here when we get around to that. And then maybe let's move this up here too and move this blue one down. The only bad thing about live coding some of this stuff is a lot of this is just, you know, mindless work, but you got to do it. So in order for stuff to work. So looks like I cleared out the rest of that. What was that called? Very light red. So let's call this red light extra or something. And using CSS variables here allows me to just reference them later, and then if we get some of this wrong, it's pretty easy to switch things around. So we'll call this light, or how about we call this background? And we'll call this muted, maybe? Or we'll call this background light. I don't know what it's used for exactly. Grayish blue. So that's the footer text. So maybe let's just call this background footer. And then this one here is called, we'll call this body. Very dark. Okay, so we'll call this background. So this will be background footer. And this will be, let's call this text footer. I'd love to know what you're working on if you got a project that you're working on. Let me know how you like these kind of live streams. I like doing them because they're fun, and then when I'm done. I don't have to do any kind of video editing or anything. And if it's helpful to people, I'm happy to keep doing this kind of thing. Text body, dark. That's the footer background. I thought I already did that. Oh, this is dark blue headings. Okay, so let's move this down here. And then let's just call this text headings. And did I copy any of this stuff? Oh, that was gradient. I messed all this up. Background, gradient, body. All right, so I'm guessing that this is, I'll have to figure out that gradient since they don't give it to me. Right here, maybe? So let's go, let's call this gradient body. And we'll say, let's see. Do a linear gradient. We'll do 2 bottom, and then that and that. And I think that should be right. I always forget to do those, so we might need to look that up if that's not right. And then let's move both of these down. That's why that was so close to this color. So 72, 66. So it was the 62 one. Okay. All right. I think we got this figured out. So this is the background gradient. So let's call this gradient background. And we'll say the same thing. So actually, let's just copy this and move this up. And see, this looks like this is the bottom one. And then this is the top one, which also means I can get rid of this. Okay. Maybe if we did all that correctly, then we've got our color set up. Next, let's work on typography. So it looks like we've got a couple things from Google Fonts. Let me pull this over here. Let's remove all those. So overpass looks like we need 300 and 600, and this is, I don't know which one this is used for. Looks like maybe the headers, perhaps. Naming variables, I know, right? I think that's one of the reasons people like Tailwind so much, is because it just takes that away and you don't have to worry about that anymore, which I get, you know, it's not always enjoyable. All right, so what do we need? 300 and 600. 300, 600, so we got that. And then the other family is this Ubuntu. All right, we need 4, 5, and 7. 400. Let's grab the italics for these two. Well, maybe just for the lower two, because I'm assuming we're going to need that somewhere since it's body copy. All right, let's go ahead and import this. We'll just use it in the CSS over here. And then let's grab these colors, or these font families right here. And let's set the body right now. I'm just going to paste them both in, and we can figure that out that out later. All right, so we got that set up. Let's go ahead and just work on these sections next. See, I'm guessing I've got a background image here for this. I haven't really looked yet, but let's figure that out. Let's take note, first of all, just of what we're going to need. So it looks like we're going to have a couple buttons. These look to be the same basic styling. So 2 different button variations. All right, so that's good. Looks like 1, 2, 3 different header styles, if those are the same. And then it looks like we've got at least 1, 2 different body fonts, maybe 3 different body fonts. So assuming some of these are the same, and again, because I don't have actual access to the actual Figma, I can't really see exactly what these are, but we can get close. And spacing is going to be a little difficult too, and that would take quite a long while to get all that right. Okay, so we got 2 buttons. What did I say? 3 headers and then 3 body fonts. So let's set a couple more things up here. So we'll say header 1, or let's just say header large, and then we will say header medium, oops, and then header small. And the hard thing, again, because I don't have access to the actual Figma, I don't know how big these are, so let's just do an approximation. What's that font called? Overpass, which I don't know that I have access to in here. Let's see. Overpass. Hey, there we go. So let's boost this up to like 40. Needs to be more than that, 60-ish. And then we'll do maybe bold. So I'd say something close to that, assuming that that's the right thing. Let's see, a modern. So we'll call that 60 for the big one, and then it needs to go all the way down to, oops, sorry about that. Whatever this is. So maybe 30-ish. 60 to 30, good enough for me. Okay, so that's the large one. Let's do a clamp here. And actually, let's just do this. I have a little shortcut on my machine that gives me access to this. So let's see, clamp in pixels. Nope. Let's try one more time. Clamp in pixels. We're going to do, we say 30 and then 60. All right, so that will paste all that in. And all I'm doing here is just doing a calculation. I've done a video before on this, and I just have a little shortcut that asks me the small size and the biggest size, and then pops all this in. So let's do that, and then let's say this is 45-ish, and we'll say this is, oops, jumped out of that. Let's see, this is something, wherever it is. We'll say down to 25. So just for sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and move in on this. Clamp, pixels, and say maybe 25 and 45. Yeah, all that naming stuff can be difficult and frustrating, especially when you come back to a previous project and you're like, well, what was I thinking here? So I think a lot of it is just being consistent. If you're consistent with yourself, and then if you're on a team, you should have some kind of actual plan, and then that way you're not having to come up with that on the fly. As much as you can take that kind of decision making out of the process is a help. All right, and then the last one, let's just pick an arbitrary value for sake of time so that we're not here forever. But okay, so we'll clamp pixels, and we're going to do like maybe 20 and 28. All right, and then we're going to have the same thing for body sizes. So let's do, just replace all these with body and body small. Let's see, do we have any extra small font? Not really, so we'll just do, that'll be our regular, so let's just call this body. And I think this is just supposed to be 16 pixels, so let's just leave that at 1 rem. And then, where was my other body fonts? I think I just had a bold. So I actually don't need to make that one any bigger. So we only need 2, I think, because I think we'd call this a body font. So we'll put that at something like, so let's do body large, and we'll just put that at maybe 20 pixels. All right, ideally I should be using rems for all these, but again, I don't want to spend 45 minutes setting up this since this is the first time I've looked at it. That'd be a pretty short and lame live stream. All right, let's go ahead and work on that header area. So let's jump back here. And that starts with a modern publishing platform. That needs to be my H1. And then grow to audience, that'll just be a paragraph for now. And let's see, modern publishing audience. So let's just comment all that out. And then right here, let's add a header. And let's move this up right here. Nice thing in VS Code, if you grab something and hit Command-Shift-P and wrap with abbreviation, you can do an H1 like that. And then I like to give classes to these so I can decouple the styling from the actual semantic tag to make sure I'm getting that right. And let's move this, grow your audience up. Hey, I am well. Flavio, welcome. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? All right, then we got start for free and learn more, and those need to be in some kind of a group. So let's set those. Let's see, these probably also should be in a group. So we're going to group these and then group these. So let's call this, let's wrap this in something. We'll call it grid small, and we'll come up with a utility class for this that just sets grid items in the center spaced out from each other. And then let's call this button group, and we'll have 2 buttons in here. Actually, yeah. Like this, and let's give this a class of button, and then button filled. I think these are only 2, so we should be good with this. And this says start for free. Yeah, you can watch this live stream later. I'll post it to the channel. I don't know how entertaining it is to watch it later, but I know I have to kind of stream it at weird times for a lot of the world, so that way if somebody wants to watch it later, you certainly can. Okay, so we've got those 2 set up, and now we'll just need a background on all that. It extends to the top, and I'm not sure if this is supposed to be fixed or not. Did they give you an indication of that? No, so let's just leave that alone. All right, so let's go ahead and start styling this, and maybe let's comment the rest of this out just so we're not distracted. And let's take out this too. Okay, cool. So let's come back over this way, and we're going to grab our header. And we know we're going to have, let's do some typography. And what else do we have? I've got my buttons, so let's call that as components. Actually, I'll just call these buttons. So let's grab the header first of all. We'll do display of grid and place items center. And let's do we want to do a min height here or just padding around all this stuff? This depends probably what we do up here. I think I'm going to make this sticky maybe, or no, I think I'll just make this fixed up top, or maybe position absolute over the top of that since they don't have it fixed. So let's do this. Let's just do some padding up and at the top and the bottom. And let's come up with some kind of spacing structure here. You know, there's a cool site. What is that called? Utopia.fyi. Let's do this. Fluid space calculator. I thought about doing a video on this at some point, and I might. But it just gives you these variable spacings, and it's nice because you can just grab these. Let's actually use the clamp. We'll just grab all of this, and that'll speed up stuff. So this, we're just going to use these as our spacing. And again, the whole point of these front-end mentor challenges is you're supposed to match them pixel perfect as best you can, but that can be difficult trying to do that on live stream. So I'm just kind of going to approximate and go from there because I only have an hour before my kids wake up. So let's call this H1 first of all, font size, header large, and then that color needs to be my white, which I don't remember what I called any of that stuff. Background. So let's do that. And then let's set the background of this. This needs to be background rather than a background color, because it's actually using a linear gradient. So let's grab all of this. You know what? I never added semicolons on any of these, so that's why nothing's working. All right, there we go. It disappeared like it should have. What was this? Gradient background? Did I not do that right? Let's come up top here. Gradient background. So maybe I'm just doing that wrong. I forget how to do this. Linear gradient CSS. Red light. SB. I'm not following you, Clark. Split CSS into files into things, so typography, direct styles, and such, which is better. Yeah, I mean, if you're using Sass, certainly something like that is a big help to be able to split it up. But in a single CSS file like this, I find it, I mean, this is a single landing page blog too, so that can be, that's a little different beast too. No, get out of here. Okay, can I interact with this? Okay, there we go. Let's get rid of this and this. So yeah, if you're using Sass or something, which, you know, would be good on any bigger project, that's what I would do. But let's see, where can I copy code? Oh, here we go. So this is degrees. Whatever. Let's just copy this in. Oh, I never did. Is that all it was? Did I get that right? Nope. So let's copy this in here. Copy this in here. Is that working? I think maybe I just need height to it. Gradient background. If you see what I'm doing here, let me know. Gradient background. Oh, no. Let's start over. Var gradient. You can help me out like that? No. Let's do padding of like 4 rem. All right. Let's get in here. What's going on? Header, gradient background. There it is. All right, let's forget this for now and just keep going on the styling, and we'll get around to that. So let's change this color so we can at least see what's going on. All right, and then I do want everything to be text align center. And let's take that grid small. So we'll call this grid components or something like that. We'll do grid small and display grid, place items center, items center, and let's do a gap of var space. Here we go. So these give us spacing sizes that will dynamically scale. That's what that Utopia website does, and you can see as I get larger and bigger, that clamp property is going to change the spacing between those. So this is from extra small to small. Do we have a 2x small to extra small? Yeah, something like that. And then let's get this open back up like this and move this down here. Whoa. All right, there we go. Let's zoom in a bit. All right, so we've got that. Let's work on our buttons next. So the buttons themselves, we've got a button, and let's do display. Actually, we're going to have these in a button container or something. What did I wrap these in? Button group. Okay. So we'll do display effects here, and then let's align items center. They should be centered either way, but, and we'll do a gap here of our size space. What do they call those? Something like that again. Actually, I think it needs to be a little bit bigger. Let's do small to medium. Let's check our design out. It looked like it was pretty small. Okay, so we'll do that, and then let's do text. Actually, no. Inside of here. Oop. Below here, let's start working on the buttons themselves. So we've got a button, and they've got a bunch of shared things. So let's set a background. Nope, that's going to be different. Text decoration, none. I know that at least. And then they have different colors. Yeah, they're both bold. So we can do font weight bold. And then they both will have some padding around them. So I can see that. Actually, let's just temporarily say background color of our red something. Red light, I think. Okay, so let's add that. And then I'll add this to the color it needs to be on in a second here, but let's do background and border radius 50%. Nope, that's not going to work. Let's do like 2 rem. Let's want it to be pill shaped. Yeah, that'll work. And then we'll do padding of it's going to be like 0.2, 0.3 rem. And maybe 1 rem, something like that. Because there's not a lot of space there. Now we do have a lot of spacing around this whole thing. So let's kill that for now so we can just see them next to each other. It's a little bit taller. 0.7. 0.75. This is where having an actual design file would be nice since I don't have the real Figma. I just have these images set out here. All right, and then I think this font size is actually, let's make sure our font size is set correctly on the body. So font size of our, what do I have here? Just body, I think, right? All right, there we go. And then the header itself needs to have some gap between these sections. So let's say gap of our space. Do large, extra large, and see what that looks like. So that's on the small screen sizes, then it should grow from there. That looks kind of similar. There we go. We should probably get some padding around the whole thing. And my guess is that's something like 2 rem. So let's say that. So let's put this back on at 2 rem. And then up and down, depending how we want this to be, I would think this is the area we'd want to be variable. So let's say space. What's the largest one we got? Is that way too much? Ish. It's hard to tell. Do I have a 3? 3XL? Well, if we don't, let's make one. All right. That's the nice thing about this generator. You just come over here and pop on some more. I want to add one. Down here? Maybe? Yeah. There we go. Let's pop in an extra one. All right, ZFake. Thanks for figuring out the linear gradient. Let's see if this works. Since I hadn't gone back up to that yet. Hey, nice, thanks. I don't know what I was doing. All right, cool. Oh, I didn't. Did I not end them with percentages? Maybe I don't know. Okay, so we got this header set to go. Let's move it back this way. How did I kill my? Oh, I killed my padding. There we go. And let's put this back in the middle, and then let's set the color on just the header. It needs to all be that white. So background color of our was my background. So all of that should be that color. And that also means I guess I don't need to set it here. We just let that be a font size thing only. Line height stuff though looks a little off. And then can we zoom this back in, please? Clamp video. I've actually done a video on clamp. It's been a while. But yeah, generally speaking, you basically have a smallest you're going to allow it to get, a general, like a number you're trying to get to, and then the largest it'll ever get. So if you're on small screen sizes, it'll never get smaller than this. It will try to be this, and then it will never get larger than that. So that's how clamp works, and you can do calculations right in here. In fact, you don't even need these calcs. The generator added those, but you can do calculations directly in there. It's very similar to min and max functions as well. But I have done a video in the past on that. If somebody wants to look that up, you're welcome to drop it in the chat. All right, so we've got button filled, and this one has a background color of our var background, if I remember correctly. And then this one, we will need the color itself to be var. I'm guessing it's just that red light again. Yeah, there we go. And then this one's the same, except I have a transparent background. So let's do that. So this was button, oops, button probably outline, I think is what I did. Yeah, there we go. And we'll set this to transition, or what, transparent. And this will be my background. Actually, I don't need that since the whole header has that. But what I will need on, let's just do on both of these. Let's do a border. It looks like 1 pixel on this image. Yeah, it's real thin. Solid var background. All right, so there we go. And then we probably do need some kind of hover state on these. It looks like, I think that's why they gave me, wasn't there like a hover color? So let's do that. So actually, let's grab this and this, and then grab both of those, come down here and do the is, and grab the hover, and let's do the focus. I'll set both of these to, I guess I could set this one also to like a light red hover. What do they tell you to do? Very light CTA hover background. Okay. Sure, let's do that. All right, so background color is my var light red hover. Whoa. So maybe that's not going to pass. I can't do that. So did they give you any kind of picture of what it's supposed to look like? Oh, okay. Maybe it is supposed to be that. So it looks like this is white, and then this goes to that weird color. All right. You do you, front-end mentor. We're just here to follow. All right. Now, this needs to change color, obviously, too. So this probably needs to come here. And then, let's see, this needs to go color var background. Yeah, Kevin Powell's done some great ones on Clamp. The one I did was, I definitely way overcomplicated it. So I would check out Kevin's first. Plus he's the master at a lot of those, at explaining a lot of those kinds of things. All right, let's set up some transitions on, let's just do a transition, or we'll do color, 250 milliseconds. They don't tell you what to do here, so let's just do ease in and out. And then let's do the same thing for the background color. So we'll do background color like that. And now I should be able to come in on both of those. Let's shorten that up just a touch. 200 milliseconds. All right. So we've got that mostly done. This needs to be a different typeface. So let's change that up. Where's that one? We stuck away. Right here. All right, more or less. So that gets that top section done, except for the background. So we can add that now. Does that look right? Does that look big enough? Is that even the right typeface? Overpass sans serif. Did I switch these up? It doesn't look right to me. All right, let's see what it is. Hey, John. It says it's overpass. Where's my computed styles? Oh, here we go. I mean, that doesn't look right to me, but that's fine. Remove the border on hover. Oh, do I? Where's that image? You know what? You're right. So let's do, that was just the filled one, right? So, or both of them. Where's that image? Both of them. Well, I guess the other one doesn't matter because it's already got that. So let's just set the background, or the border color. Border color to transparent here. Transition transparent. Let's try that. Hey, I mean, I still don't like it, but it's not my design, so I don't have to like it. I just got to do it. So we got this background section. Background image would work. We could also position absolute it. Let's see what they give us. Images. Whoa, look at all this stuff. Pattern intern. Can I preview this somehow? I think I've got an extension that lets me preview this. Nope. Okay, so background intro desktop. That's got to be that top section. They give me 2 separate SVGs. Huh, weird. I thought that would just be scaled, but... So let's go ahead and grab those, and I'm just going to add those directly into the HTML. And where is my HTML? Here we go. So let's add these here, and I'm going to position absolute these. So I just add them directly in here, and let's call this class of mobile only. And I'll give this, well, we'll just select the SVG inside of that. What is this? Oh, okay. Nice. And then let's grab the desktop, and we'll do the same thing here. Just paste this in and say, where's the start of this? Class, desktop only. All right, let's come back over this way and add a position relative on this. Position relative, so that we can position these other things absolute. And then I'll say header. Let's grab the SVGs inside of here. Now, typically, just because the way CSS is interpreted, it's not great to do these kind of selectors. At least I don't like to do it, because what it's going to do is look at every SVG on your page. Then it will look at anything inside the header. So by styling like this, or if you did like all, paragraphs or whatever, it's better to use classes, because then you just avoid the unnecessary work. Yeah, I think it looks strange too, but they didn't ask me. So, all right, header, let's do display of none for now. And both of these need to be position of absolute. And let's go ahead and grab the header, and then anything inside of that with a class of mobile only. And actually, let's do the same thing here, and let's comment out the desktop only. Desktop only, and we'll do display none, and take this off. All right, so position absolute on this, then we'll do inset 0 on everything, and z-index, do like 1, I just want to see where it's at. Is that the right thing? What do we call that? Desktop only, mobile only, SVG. I'm not seeing it in here, but maybe it's just hiding behind all that. Let's take off the background color. Nope, it's gone. What am I doing wrong here? Position absolute. I want this to be, let's do top 10 pixels, right 10 pixels, left 10 pixels. Where you at, man? 10 pixels. Comment this off. Let's do like 10. Why is that not showing up? Well, this should not be this difficult. I guess the other thing we can do is just change the header. If we call this and erase everything we just did, we can just add it as a background image and be done with it. So let's do that. Okay, so let's grab our header here. Hey, yeah, you're welcome, ZFake. I saw a really good video explaining that from somebody who's an expert in the field, and I don't remember who it was. And if I find one, I'll try to post it to Twitter or something. What am I doing? Header right here. So let's do a background image. And what is this syntax? URL. Right inside here, images, intro. Let's do that. So this will be our default. And then we'll do background size. Let's do cover. and background position. Oh, you know what? We've set the background on this whole thing. So, So I do need to overlay that, I think. All right, this is taking way too long. It should not be this difficult. So let's go ahead and just skip it for now, and I'll come back to it. Actually, let's put this stuff back on at least. And that way, if we have time, we can come back to this at a different time. Maybe it is showing up and I just can't see it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. And let's... I guess those SVGs are gone too. So if we ever get back around to it, we'll do that. All right, this is taking way too long. This, we'll give that a border radius. Where's my header? So here we go. We'll go border radius and let's see, bottom left. We'll do like, what do they let you do? Like 20%, something like that. It's got to be. So yeah, let's, 50% is too big. Let's do a rem here. Like 4 rem. This is, again, where it'd be nice to have that Figma file because it would just tell you and then you just plug it in. So we'll call it something like that. Design for the future. Okay, so this next section, let's look at these together. We're going to have, if this is our standard, then it will wrap reverse. So we've got a H2 here, section. These will be grouped, and this will be grouped over this way. And maybe, let's see, I think we could do this a few ways. We could just do a grid container. Hey, see you, Clark. Hey, thanks so much. Yeah, NetNinja has been very kind to me to let me on their channel, and I know like almost all of you have come from there. So I'm very thankful to Sean and glad that I can be a help to some. All right, so let's do that, and then for this section, because it's going to be off the screen, we'll just move the whole container over and have overflow hidden on the body, I think is what I'll do. But since we're just doing mostly mobile to start with, let's just lay this out as it sits and kind of move from there. All right, so let's do that. And where is that section? Design for the future. Okay, so let's come in here and we're going to have a section. Oops, got to come up above here. So I'll have a section here and we'll give this a class. Actually, let's not give it a class. Section here, and then we'll do an aria labeled by. And we're going to point this to the ID of that section. So we'll just call this future designed or something like that. And then inside here is where we can have the H2. And this is where we'll give it the ID of future designed. All right, so these will point to each other, and it's important. This actually sets it off as its own little region. And Kevin Powell actually did a video recently on his channel where he talked about this aria labeled by, which I had no idea had to be there for this section to really do anything. So if you haven't seen that, go check out his channel. All right, let's see. What's this next section? Robert, no dissing you, Chris. Just, hey, no, yeah. The nice thing is, it's it's not like we're in competition. I'm happy to be a help to some people. This was never meant to be a thing. I literally started this channel quietly, never told anybody about it, and just did it for my own sake, because talking through stuff helps me see what I know and don't know. And then several people found me, and here we are. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, Kevin's a genius of a teacher, so I would definitely go to him on CSS. So I don't know what that image is called. Let's find these images. Editor, illustration, laptop, phones. Huh. Let me come down here on my other screen and open up and see what these images actually are. So I'm not just looking at the titles, since it looks like all I've got is the titles here for me. What is this thing called? Blogger landing page. Sorry, I gotta find this on my machine. Blogger, landing page, main, images. All right, so we're looking for illustration. Editor desktop, illustration editor mobile. So again, they're giving you 2 different SVGs. And it's a little weird, but oops. editor mobile right here. All right, SVG class, and we'll call this feature mobile SVG. And then below here, we've got introducing and then robust content management. So those should be down here, and they are. So let's grab both of these, one right here. All right, so let's copy those out. This will be down below this SVG. These need to be in their own section. So let's call this a text group. And then we're going to give this an H2 with a class of H2. And I'll paste that in. And then paragraph, same kind of thing. And these, let's see, do we need to, I guess we could have these in another one of our utility classes. So let's do our grid small and copy both of these down. Do the same thing here and the same thing here. All right, so that should be good. And these are center aligned. So we can actually, yeah, that grid small should work real well for us. All right, and since all of that so far is centered align, let's just go ahead and change this grid small to text align center. And that'll help us out. Okay, so let's start styling out this section. And we can just grab this ARIA tag and add it in down here. And maybe, let's see if all these sections are going to be the same as far as their outline, their padding and all that stuff. Let's add all this section in the main. So we'll do a main tag here. And then what we can do is use a parent grid to space all these things out and get them their sizes on the side as well. So let's come back up here above our body. Where's our body? Right here. So we'll grab our main and say display of grid, and then see, we've got gaps here on the side. It looks like maybe that one rem size are real small. So let's do a padding here in line. So that's just left and right. And we'll do our var space. What does this say? 2 rem. It's too small, extra small to small. Something like that. So padding on the side. And then we'll do display of grid. Let's do our gap up here. And then all of these are going to be space. Let's see, 2 to 3 rem. Does that look like about 2 to 3 rem? It looks more than that to me. Maybe like 4 to 5 rem, something like that. Do we have something close to that? 5 to 9. 7 to 8. We're getting there. I mean, 4 to 6-ish. How do you feel about that? Let's do it. All right, so that should space out all these lower things once we start adding them in. And maybe I should just add a padding up top and bottom for all that as well. Let's see, did that not work well? What did that do? Oh, I'm still padding in line. All right, there we go. And then I think everything else should work there. We can center align all the rest of this later. Let's work on our header 2 since we're already here. And we'll say header 2. That should be the same. So we're going to make this medium. And then we're also going to take the color here. And this was that like blue header or something? Nope, not that. That's our font size. Header, text headings. There we go. And while we're here, we should also probably change the color here to our var of text body. So, because this is all white, we can leave that alone. All right, that should work. Is this, and that font doesn't look to be coming through. I don't know. I did pull it in up here, right? Maybe let's come back over here. I still don't, it doesn't seem like it's actually coming in. So let's pull it in the HTML and see if that makes a difference. I mean, it shouldn't, but who Who knows? It did. All right. Well, there we go. It's fixed. All right. So back over here, we've got this section. So this header is always going to be separated from these others. It looks like it's about the same distance. So we can use our same variable right here set up. So let's come in here and grab this and say display grid, and then we will gap it like this. All right, there we go. So those are all spaced out nicely. Now let's just get this locked in the middle too. So there's a couple ways we can do this. See how these sections work. So because this one's going to move over, I guess let's do this by, and this one will move that way. Let's do this by sections instead of globally declaring on the sections. So we'll do, let's put a little to-do here. Add a desktop sizing for this. But for now, let's come in here and say for mobile. Yeah. Was the font weird? Z-fake, is that what you're talking about? At least I felt like that was weird. I didn't know what was going on. Looks like this is a little too wide too. It's just picking up its natural size. So maybe let's come back up here to our clear and add a image and SVG max width of 100%. All right, cool. All right, so we're spaced in the middle for all that. That's good. Let's also take our, what is this thing? Let's do that next. Text group, maybe? No, that was this section. Oh no, yeah, that's right. So text group. Let's call that. And let's do display grid, and let's use that same gap. So maybe I should actually have set up a utility class for that, but that's all right. So we got that all spaced out properly there. Let's just get this SVG in the middle. Did I give this thing any kind of class? SVG, SVG, future mobile SVG. Well, I mean, what kind of a class is that? And let's do, we already have a max width on it. What if I just take, does it have a yeah, it has a hard-coded width. Let's set this to, let's just change it here to width, 100%. Nope. Let's get rid of this. Get out of here. Nope, that's not helping me either. I should be able to resize this pretty easily. I mean, I know I've got my display of overflow on that, or overflow hidden. I was going to add. Looks like it's already cutting itself off because I've set that max width on it. Let's just hard code another width in here while we're at it. So they said it was supposed to be 375 or something like that for the whole thing. So let's just add that back in here. Where was that? I think they said 375, 320. Let's, is this even making any difference? All right, that is. So that's good. Let's go 300. 20. I mean, is this thing, what am I doing wrong here? 314. I think it's the way they have this SVG set up. So maybe we need to set this inside a parent or something. Yeah, because it shouldn't be cutting itself off like that, right? All right, well, let's text align this thing to the center to start with. So we'll text align center and get everything else set. And we'll set another to do for ourselves. To do, fix SVG. All right, let's go back to our mobile view. And we've got that more or less set up. We need a background on that. If we've got this set up, we've just got to fix that. So let's keep moving. All right, so this next section looks like it's just a simple wrap. Although I guess while we're here, let's go ahead and grab this feature design section and I guess we needed to wrap those two things. All right, so let's fix that first. So this and this text group, let's see, all through this section here. Let's wrap all of this in something we're going to call flex reverse. That'll just be a utility class. And let's come up here and add that. So we've got our buttons. Let's just call this grid flex components. And then this is flex reverse. And we'll display flex and flex wrap of wrap reverse. All right, so hopefully that should help us out here. I wrapped it down below. Is that what I wanted? Oh, you know what? I wanted it that way, but I have to switch where those are sitting. I was thinking desktop first. So let's move all of this text group out of here. And let's put it up in front of this. All right, so it's like that. And then when we get bigger, eventually, once we get around to doing desktop, which we probably won't get to today, obviously, then that will wrap the other way. All right, next section is these phones. It looks like we'll start with it up top and just wrap it down, so that can just be normal wrap. And it has some kind of thing behind that. It looks like I actually have an SVG looking at the folder. Hey Flavio, thanks. That's very kind of you. I'm glad it's been a help. All right, we've got these things. What are these called? Do I have these in my illustration phones? In my other screen, it's telling me I've got that illustration phones. Hey, there we go. So let's add that in, and then state of art and infrastructure. So we'll do the same thing. If we come down here, grab another section here, and this will be another ARIA labeled by, and let's call this phones. Phones, and then a class of H2 as well. Oh, what am I doing? Pasting that in. This needs to be the state of art infrastructure. And then this next little section will be a flex. Let's just call this flex wrap. Since we did a flex wrap reverse on the other one. And this will have a couple sections in it. It'll have that SVG, which I have on my clipboard here. There we go. Awkwardly off to the side. It looks like, why did that whole thing not copy in? Somehow it's not liking these pasted SVGs. So maybe let's just make them images anyhow. That'll probably be easier for you to track. Let's come here, images, phone something. Illustration phones. That's really odd that it's, I bet that's what happened up here too. Let's do it. Let's get rid of all this and see if that helps us out. Future mobile SVG. Don't let me forget. What am I doing? Oh yeah, that was the class. Class future mobile SVG. The future, well, let's see what the image is. I don't even remember. Let's go up. Images. Illustration, what was that even called? Let's look on the other illustration editor. Mobile illustration. I'm looking on my other screen here, sorry. Illustration editor mobile. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Okay. Illustration editor mobile. There we go. Editor thing. Okay, so now that is working. Oh, man, that's really weird that it wasn't copying in correctly. And then I need something on that wrap reverse class to separate those. So don't let me forget that. State-of-the-art infrastructure. Hey, yeah, thanks, Robert. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but yeah, I make a lot of mistakes, and it's fine. We all do, and I think having people who just are willing to show it maybe is the braver or stupider thing. I know a lot of people don't like watching that kind of stuff, which is fine. You know, people don't have to watch the live stream. But for those of you who enjoy it, hopefully it could be an encouragement or a discouragement that we're all that bad. I don't know. Okay, so this section here, actually, this is all going to be inside a grid small, which was our little grid thing we did. And we're going to call state of infrastructure and then the reliability speed thing. So let's move this down here. And then we'll just have a paragraph class. Let's see, were these two separate paragraphs? Nope, all together. And it ended with competitive. Okay. So let's move this in here and grab all this stuff out. Okay, cool. Now this does have a background. Looks like we've got the same little curvature, and then this is a background pattern I'm seeing over here. So let's think of the best way to do this. So we could do a grid container. If we did that, this would be stuck to the top here. Actually, this would just be stretched, and we would just position this other thing. We're already going to have this position absolute, though, because this little inner circle is going to be... So let's just make this intersection here position absolute, this blue background. And pretty sure we had a gradient set up for that anyhow. Yeah, the ARIA label the sections, that was something that I saw Kevin Powell teaching a couple weeks ago. He did a video on that. And basically these sections, you know, you probably know you need a header inside of a section to point to it, but it actually doesn't do anything aside from a div semantically unless you add this ARIA labeled by and point it to that H2. According to Kevin, I haven't checked up on that, but I'm confident, you know, he's right. So the class is future mobile SVG with 2 dashes. All right, thanks. I did ask you to make sure I didn't mess that up, and here I am already messing it up. 2 dashes there? No, that's not right. I think you said 2 dashes there. Okay, it won't really make a difference if I get over to the CSS and just copy that over, but for sake of consistency, let's stick to it. All right, so let's add that background section. Let's just do it on the whole section here. So we're going to say phones background, something like that. And that's where we'll add all that. So phones background. All right, so I think we should be good here. This is wrapping as it's supposed to, but I guess we've just got them set up that way because that's how it's going to render it naturally. Is that all right? Okay. So let's get going on this. ARIA labeled by phones. This should be a lot of the same kind of stuff. All right, and display grid, gap. Let's just, maybe we should have done all those the exact same way. And let's go ahead and go to our flex wrap reverse. And for this one, and actually let's do this. Let's say flex wrap. And let's set this to our gap of, what was that, var space. There we go, 2XL. And then let's set this flex reverse and add that flex wrap property in there. And that will just be flex wrap of wrap. Okay, I think we did that correctly. Is that what I wanted to do? Why are all my SVGs? Oh, maybe I did the wrong thing. Oh, flex wrap. Here we go. Flex wrap. All right, there we go. So does that look pretty close? Kind of feel like this needs to be smaller. Let's do large to extra large. And then that way the sections stay a little closer together. And let's do the same thing on our grid. Grid small, do we have anything? Oh, no, we did, but that's not what we needed. It must have been on maybe this section down here, this text group. So I think it was. And then let's use that text group. Or I guess we don't really need it. We already have a grid small on this. So I was going to say we could use the text group on this section right here. Let's also set this as a position of relative because we're going to need that for that background section here, that blue section that we called something. Phone's background. So it's coming here. Live to me, good thing makes more real. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're totally different videos. Obviously, nobody wants to watch like a 30-minute video where somebody had the time to plan it and edit it out, where they're just fixing constant mistakes. But I feel like doing both types can be a help to people, hopefully. So background color. Actually, this needs to be background, right? Because we've got our var gradient something body. And I think we, speaking of messing up earlier, I think we messed that up, but this also needs to be position absolute. Oops. And then let's use the inset. And right and left, it should be 0. And then up and down, let's use our one of these random spacers and see what that ends up doing for us. All right, first of all, let's fix the background gradient. And rather than figuring out whatever I did last time, let's just use the same one. And we'll just change out the values. Like that, hopefully. Something work? Oh, I changed the wrong one. The body, I think, is what this one was. No, this one's background. This one's body. There we go. All right, cool. So let's come back down here to the bottom. And let's set this to z index of -1. And so now it's behind everything. That's good. And then let's see, this, it looks like this needs to be at the very bottom on desktop or on mobile. And then go to whatever that is. So actually, let's set this to, this should be 0 here. And then maybe let's make this like 2XL to 3XL. Something like that. Where's that button at? So maybe a little bit more. Let's do 3XL to 4XL, which is that one we grabbed. Yeah, looks about right. And then let's leave that there. Let's also, I guess, just change this to top since we're not using any of these anyhow. Actually, you know what? I need it to go to the side. Yeah, so I actually need to break beyond the bounds of that main tag. So what was our main tag? Padding side to side right here. Let's steal this. And the nice thing about these variables is you can add a calc here and just calculate it by -1. And that should get us to the outsides. Yeah, there we go. All right, so cool. Let's, since it's already at the bottom, we should be able to just add some padding at the bottom. I'm trying to think if that's the best way to do this. I think so. So let's set this to color of background. And why does this thing keep jumping around on me? Let's grab this right here. Did I give this a class of H2? I did. I feel like that should pick up this, but... All right, so let's... I probably should do utility classes for these font colors. I don't know. This is fine. So let's copy this down. And let's just grab the class of H2 and change the color here to that background color. Surely that should fix it. Yeah, there you go. And then let's set padding here. Let's just do padding bottom of our largish. How's something like that? Yeah, there you go. How about 2 and 3? Again, that design file would come in handy right now, but I don't have it. So finally, let's do a border. What was our header here? Let's just use whatever we used there. Yep. 6 rem. I doubt that's correct. Oops, that's not what I wanted on. How about right here? but it's probably pretty close. And then let's do overflow hidden, I guess, or we could do the same border on the background div. Oh, you know what? I can't do overflow hidden because it cuts off the, the background div. So let's do that. Let's add border left on both of them. Okay, this also then has a background image. So since for some reason we had trouble with that last time, let's just do it to do background image. And we'll get back to that in a second. All right. We're starting to get something that slightly resembles what we've got over here. Looks like this gap's a little bit too big, so see, I use utility classes to space all that out. Probably the easiest thing to do would be to come in here and this isn't great practice because then you're just constantly overwriting yourself, but let's just grab the flex wrap and change, see, flex. This gap is what's different here. Yeah, so let's just update it down here just for speed's sake. Where are we at? Phones, H2. Oh, here we go. So let's change this to something more like medium to large. Is that even a thing? Var space medium large. That's a thing. Except I think it needs to be a smaller thing. Let's do space small to medium. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. This typeface also doesn't look right. Is this the same one? So maybe it's all Ubuntu. Then what is the other one? Is it just this? Or just the buttons maybe? I don't know. It doesn't look right. Let's switch everything to Ubuntu. So, or not Ubuntu. What's the overpass? Let's try this and see what that feels like. I mean, that seems better. You know what? I think it's just these buttons that's the Ubuntu. Where's my buttons? Button group, buttons. Maybe it's just that and the rest of that is this stuff. Sure, let's say that. Okay, so this final section here, it looks like it's basically the exact same as this section. Right? Except without a header. So state-of-art infrastructure. And then this would be, maybe we could call this like additional features, something like that. So let's do that. Let's copy down this section right here. And let's add it down here. And let's call this, grab this first one, hit Command D and grab them both. We'll call this the art, or no, additional features. Is that what we said? Additional features. Now we don't want this to actually show, so let's add a class of SR only on here for screen reader only, and then we'll switch all that stuff out here in a second. So let's see, free and simple. That's the next paragraph, and then we'll grab this, and we'll grab this. Looks like all the rest of that is our footer. So let's come up here and see, get rid of these couple things on my clipboard. All right, free, open, and simple. Oh no, you know what? That was the wrong place. Because that actually goes here, and that free, open, and simple. So let's do that. And these actually need to be, so I messed all this up. This needs to be H. Let's move over. Let's check. Design for the future. So that is the same. This needs to be an H3 though. This can be an H2. This can be H3 and H3. Okay. So let's change this up. Let's have these be H3s. And this also needs to be H3. Same here. And then let's add the rest of this in here. And because the styling on that one H2 is a little different, See, I can leave this alone, but this one we want to be additional features. That way for screen readers and stuff, we know what this section is about, but I'll actually hide this in the UI with the screen reader only class. And then up top here, state of infrastructure. So this is what we actually want to be an H3 styled tag. And then this would need to be H3. This is also going to need, oh, it doesn't even have a class of H2 on this. This needs to have a class of H3, even though it's an H2, and then this will be an H3 with a class of H3. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just basically made sure that my section has an H2 and that the subsections have H3s. So semantically, you want to actually order it like that. So you've got one H2 per page. Each section has an H2, and within that, if you have sections, they have H3s. And by keeping the styling separate from the semantic tags, now we can style this H3 to look the same as these because that's what they're supposed to be. That should give us consistent styling across. So this one should look like this. So let's come back over here. Let's look at our H2s. And let's change these to... So that, yeah, that works. But then this needs to be H3. And this is our header small. Okay, so now these should have the same. So this is an H2, but it looks like an H3 because that's how it's designed, even though semantically it's an H2. And then this one should look like an H2. Good. This should look like an H2, and these should look like H3s. We're going to get rid of this, actually, so it doesn't look like anything. Because let's just do this. So there's a screen reader only class on, what's that thing called? Tailwind. So let's look at screen reader only. Here we go. So let's just grab this stuff and add this in here. Basically, that will hide it from the UI. So it's no longer visible because it's not supposed to be visible. We actually need to switch that image out too. But it can still tell screen readers exactly what this section is about, which is what we want. All right, so let's go back to our HTML here. Let's switch out the right image. Phones. Okay, here we go. So images, let's do Illustrator, laptop mobile. There we go, that should be right. And then future mobile, let's call this editor thing. Did I really call it that? I'll just call this, let's grab both of these by hitting Command-Shift-L. We'll grab all the editor things on the page and change them to image, or no, we don't need to add image. We'll just do laptop, something like that. Okay, so we've got that set. I think that looks good, mostly, because we've got all those utility classes up and running. I wonder why this thing is so small comparatively. Set width. Oh, it's because I changed the class on there since I was having troubles. So let's set future mobile SVG. So for now, let's just get rid of that. Maybe that makes it wide enough for mobiles. All right, that is close, so we can come back and finalize some of that. Last section, though, let's go ahead and do this. So we've got a logo, which I'm guessing, let me look over. Yeah, I do have a logo SVG, so we've got that. And then these three sections. So we can just stack these and make them display flex. So let's do that. So let's come over this way. Actually, you know what? Let's mix it up. Let's do the styling first and imagine what it's going to be like. So we've got a footer. We'll do a background color here of our var dark something, blue, black. What is that? Footer. Imagine that. Background footer. And it's not going to show yet. So this is going to be a blind test. We do want this to have a top right radius. These should probably all point to a variable so that I can update it at once, but I can also just Command-Shift-L all those since I don't have any other 6 rems on the page. What else are we going to want? So we're going to want a container in the middle here. So let's do that. So we'll say, let's grab a footer and this is going to be below the main, so it's going to have its own padding as well. So let's call this footer container since it's the only one on the page. We'll do margin inline, and then we'll do a max of, let's do 100% minus 70 rem divided by 2, or 2 rem, something like that. All right, so if we do that right, that'll actually set it in the middle as well. And then let's do a padding here of our, what do we do for a header? Where you get header, padding. Let's steal this and see how that works out for us. 2 rem left and right. You know what? I don't need this anymore, so we can just say 0, or padding block, even better. All right, footer container, and then this will also be display a flex, and then flex wrap of wrap, and then we'll do a gap of our space something like that maybe. Okay, so is this going to be correct? Good chance no, but we'll see. Now we probably do want this to be, we're going to want a footer navigation too. So let's do footer navigation, because that should probably be a navigation tag since it really is a navigation. So we'll do display flex as well. Let's do this. Let's do a footer flex. So let's combine a bunch of these things that will be on both of these. So we'll just add footer container and footer flex to the footer container, and then to the footer navigation, we'll do the same thing. So what else would this thing need that the other one doesn't have? I guess nothing really. Okay, let's get something visual so I'm not just ideating myself over here in the corner. I think all the rest of that should work. Okay, so let's come over here. And below the main, let's add a footer with footer container. Oh, that's not right. With a dot footer container inside of it. That also has a dot full footer flex. And let's see, is it inside that container? Let's just expand this for now. No use in making this harder than we need it to be. I thought I had this as a footer. All right, saving time with Chris. let's restart up here. So we got a footer right like this. Move this up. We got our footer container. Inside this, we're going to have a tag that's going to point to nowhere, and this will have our image of our SVG in here, which is images. We have a logo, yeah, right there. So this will be Blogr logo, and then we're going to have a navigation. Actually, let's do a nav with aria labeled. Our aria label is secondary nav. And then inside here, we'll have several sections. So maybe let's make these ULs. And we'll call this nav links, I think. And then inside here, we're going to have all this. So let's move this up like that. And then let's just do this. Let's grab each of these like this, and we'll do an li with a class of nav link. And then, so you're going to grab all that, move to the end there. And then this one also is going to need wrapped in a strong tag. There we go. Okay, so that's setting out nicely. I thought on this footer I had a background color. It was going to be so awesome when all this just showed up for us. And now it's not. So, it's because I did a class of footer. Right? I don't know. Let's see what's going on over here. That should definitely be showing that color. All right, let's go ahead and copy the rest of these down for now. I think there were 2 more sections. And maybe let's just do our sequential paste thing again. Copy all those. And copy all those. All right. So we'll add that in there, there. And then let's see, careers was the last one. Blog careers, yeah. Oh, what was that about? And then I think there were just these 3 here. All right, nav links, we got those set. Footer, everything's in this nav. It's got a secondary nav on it. So let's use this for our nav, or our selector in CSS. I think all this is right. This needs to be below all this. Like that. Okay. So let's move back over to the CSS. Background footer. What's the matter with you? Why isn't this working? Well, it says it's the only one. So that's the first problem. var, because we should have that up top. Background footer. What did I have before? Only one color or something? Background, like that. Okay, something's happening. This footer container should also be a footer flex. Let's grab our, where's the thing? That link, did we give this a class? No, we did not. So let's call this footer logo. And jump back over here. So let's grab our footer logo and our footer links, something. I guess it's just that nav, right? What do we, I think I've got that maybe on my clipboard. Secondary nav. Again, we'll use the ARIA label for this. And if you do have 2 navs, you definitely need to tell it with this ARIA label so that screen readers and other assistive technology knows that this is a navigation, but it's not your primary one. What am I wanting to do? Let's set the flex here to, let's set the flex, let's just go 101 and 100. We'll have to obviously change that when we get on desktop, but that's a good starting point. And then let's set everything in this footer container. Let's set this as a display. Actually, those are both footer flex. So let's grab here, do align items center, and justify content center. Get in the middle. Justify content center, right? Let's do text align center. I think that's maybe our problem. They're all inline. Okay. Let's grab our nav links, I think, and we'll set these to a list style of none. And then let's grab just this now, and we'll set this to display of grid, and then gap of our space something, space large, extra large. That spaces those out nicely. Maybe a little bit more space, and let's grab the first child here. And just to make sure we've got this, let's do color red. Is that the right things? So I guess I don't want that. I want the nav link. Each of the first children. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is the one I'd want. Probably the easiest thing to do is just to add some padding on the bottom, or margin on the bottom. Margin bottom, like 4 rem. Let's see what that does. Way too much. Something like that. And then let's get some more spacing on these nav links. So we might as well make these. Let's see. What's the quickest way? Maybe just to make this a grid 2 and do a gap of our small, extra small. Let's do 2 extra small to extra small. Space those out a bit. That's probably even too much. Let's just do like 0.2 rem because it looks the same on desktop and mobile. Maybe a little different, but that's pretty close. All right, well, that is kind of done. We've got that upper section that's set. Again, it's kind of hard because I don't have the design file to really get this dialed in. Like, for instance, this padding block is definitely way too big. So let's shrink that a good bit. That looks closer. Those are all stacked up. It looks like this. Probably more like 1. All right, so we're going to call that section mostly done. Looks like that letter. A lot of this spacing looks different than the font itself. So I think maybe what I need to do is go up to the body and all of it. Let's do it EM, but let's set all the letter spacing to like 0.02 EM and just give stuff a little bit more breathing room. Sure looks like they've got something like that on the design. Okay, so we've got that section. More or less, we've got that section there too. We could probably also do a little bit more with the line height here of like maybe 1.5. It's a little better spaced out. And then we would need to make sure we set, let's do on all these, let's do a line height of 1.1. Shrink that down a bit. Might be a little too much. 1.2 maybe? Oops. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so looks like we've also, this needs to have a top rounding to it too. And then we probably will call this section or this stream done at some point here. Obviously, we're not done yet. We haven't finished the mobile and top right radius. Phones. Oh, I need to do the same on the background image. We obviously haven't done the rest of the mobile menu or anything like that. We haven't had the background images. But we got a good bit of it done. Up here, so it looks like maybe these headings too. Let's set the H2s, or the H3s here. Let's set a max inline size of like 20 characters. 15 characters. Because it looks like it wraps like that. But then that's messing that up too, huh? Let's do an 18 and see how that works out for us. Okay, that'll work. This H2 that has a class of H3 should be centered. Let's grab our section there, the top section. Text align centered. I thought I did that. And I did. Huh. I don't know why that's not going to the center. Let's grab this here. And grab the H2 inside of that and say text align center. Margin auto. Oh, I don't know why that's not putting it to the middle. We could also just place item center, I guess. Center. That should put it in the middle as well. Okay, that'll work. All right, so let's do one little final check here, and maybe I can pull up the actual images here instead of moving back and forth like I've been doing. So let's do that. Whoa. So let's get these stacked next to each other. All right, so we've got this section and the nav. Obviously, we need to finish off this. These buttons still aren't quite right. They need to be, I think, just a smaller font. That spacing looks okay. Looks like maybe we've got some, like a filter with some kind of gradient behind it. So we should probably work on that. Some of these widths don't look quite right. So maybe we just need to change the main tag padding on that. Got a background image to add there. All that stuff mostly set, and the footer mostly set. All right, well, with all that set up and stuff, and a few mistakes along the way, that's could be worse for an hour and 40 minutes. Could be a lot better too, but such is life. What do we write? 270 lines of mediocre CSS and a decent amount of mediocre HTML. So how about that? All right, well, next time it will probably be, I'm trying to think, it's going to be a few weeks if I do it on a Sunday, so it may be a weekday where I do it, and that might let some other people join. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for sticking around, and if you have suggestions of what to do in the future, let me know. But next time what we'll do is maybe finish out that mobile menu and some of these other things, and then get some of this just working on desktop properly, which I don't think will take too long, maybe about what we've got right now, something like that. But I really appreciate you joining me. I hope this was enjoyable for you, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday or Monday if you're already into Monday. So thanks so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Happy coding.